I'm definitely going to come up with a list of questions, a list of topics. I'm going to think about again. I'm big on this. I'm going to think of what they could say. If I ask this, what if they say, and of course, my answer is always like a life changing thing that nobody ever says. But if you can't think of an interesting answer to your question, it's a bad question. Um, I'm going to come up with a list of questions. I'm going to have sort of topics in mind, but I think you also want to always sort of have an interesting way to try to phrase a very broad question that lets them tell you things that you don't know. I was at a high school baseball game the other day, state championship baseball games, talking, to the kids who won the games. One kid had a winning hit, one kid was the winning pitcher. And so I tried this with both kids. I said, this is something you'll remember for the rest of your life. When you're an old guy like me, how will you tell this story to your friends of how you won the state championship game? And I'm hoping that they're going to say, you know, well, 20 years from now, I'm going to remember the way my knees were knocking together. Like you're opening a door that is slightly more interesting than how do you feel, which is really boring and puts the onus on them. A lot of these questions, even in a one-on-one, too often people put all the onus on the subject. With such a broad question, how do you feel? What's it like to be an Ohio State football player? What are you supposed to say to that? You could say anything. But if you frame it in a way, you have to help them a little bit. Because you can, especially with younger people, you can feel the pressure on them when their answer could go in 1,000 different directions. But I'm trying to frame it. You're an old guy at the bar with your friends when you're 40. Tell me how you start this story when you look back on this day. It's a framing device for them a little bit. Now, first kid hemmed and hawed for 45 seconds and did not know what to do. So then I said, were you nervous? What were you thinking about when you up there? The other kid threw out there that he'd been hit in the face with a line drive 90 minutes before the game when he was taking batting practice and a ball bounced back and hit him in the face. And it was like, well, he didn't know if he was going to be able to pitch. Now, I don't know how I would have known that, but I tried to ask a broad thing and I gave him the chance and he sort of went there, and then I pounced and I asked 10 questions about that right away. How did it happen? What did you think? How much did it hurt? Did it affect you when you pitched? Do you know what it looks like right now? What did your teammates say? What did your coach say? All these things. Once there's an opening, you pounce with very specific questions.